Good afternoon and welcome to Africa Today. I am Uduak Daniel. First, let's talk the headlines. And on the headline, federal government approves social investment draft bill. Still on the headlines, Burkina Faso Prime Minister visits convoy attack victim. Also on the headlines, Kenya bars costly ads hailing president-elect. And on sports, Plateau United's opponent to withdraw from Champions League. And now the news in detail. President Muhammadu Buhari says Nigeria is committed to promoting peace and harmony among ECOWAS countries. The president made the declaration on Wednesday at the State House, Abuja, as he received updates from former Nigerian President Goodluck Jonathan on the face-off between Mali and Côte d'Ivoire over detained Ivorian soldiers and ECOWAS envoy. About 49 Ivorian soldiers had been detained in Mali for unlawful entry, and only the 3 females in the team have been released, leaving 46. The development of ECOWAS leaders, as advocated by the special envoy, former President Jonathan. President Buhari pledged an initiative from Nigeria towards immediate resolution of the impasse. And now to Federal Executive Council, that is FEC meetings, and having you know that the FEC has approved the draft National Social Investments Social Program, that is the NSIP Establishment Bill 2022. The Minister of Humanitarian Affairs, Disaster Management and Social Development, Sadier Umar Farouk, revealed this to State House correspondents in Abuja.
Oil pipelines. But I'd like to assure you that the Corps will not and cannot conduct any act of sabotage, or misbehavior or compromise in any form.
The Commandant General, who talked tough while addressing the top management of the Corps and state commandants nationwide, maintained that the federal government has expressed serious displeasure on the issue of oil theft, which requires drastic measures by the Corps in order to protect the major revenue base of the country. He added that very soon, operational vehicles procured by the Corps from the federal government's support will be commissioned by the Minister of Interior, Ogbeni Rauf Aregbesola.
Area of
Away from that story, let's have you know that the Department of State has confirmed that the Abuja-Kaduna train hostage negotiator Tukur Mamu is in its custody. Released by on Wednesday following reports that Mamu was arrested in Egypt. The statement read in part stating this is to confirm that Mamu, as a person of interest, was intercepted by Nigeria's foreign partners at Cairo, Egypt, on 6 September 2022 while on his way to Saudi Arabia. He has since been returned to the country on Wednesday, 7 September 2022 and taken into the service's custody. Mamu has made headlines lately for his part in the release of the Kaduna train victims who were abducted on March 28. When we return, news from other parts of Africa, West Africa. Stay with us. Patrols in eastern Mali as part of a junta denied permission for flights to support personnel rotation under the UN's MINUSMA mission on August 12. MINUSMA in 2013 to help Mali cope with the bloody jihadi campaign. And now to Burkina Faso, having you know that the Prime Minister Albert Ouedraogo has visited survivors of the attack on military-led supply convoy, including civilians, drivers, and traders. About 37 people were wounded in Monday attack. Among them, a dozen children are hospitalized at the Charles de Gaulle Pediatric Hospital in Ouagadougou. The Prime Minister saluted the team for the bravery, serenity, and the responsiveness with which they took charge of the wounded. He therefore encouraged them to continue along this path. The Prime Minister also met with some civilians and confirmed that at least 35 died after an improvised explosive device struck a convoy between Jabo and Burzanga in the country's jihadist hit north. The emergency services quickly reacted to provide care to the wounded. Paying tribute to the innocent victims, President Paul Henry Sandaogo Damiba vowed to defeat the insurgents. We now move to other parts of Africa after this break. Don't go away. You're still watching Africa Today on Hills TV. Glad to have you back. And talking other parts of Africa, Kenya's president-elect William Ruto says the outgoing president Uhuru Kenyatta has not seen it fit to congratulate him for his election win. The interview was aired hours after Ruto tweeted about his telephone conversation with President Kenyatta, in which they discussed the general election and the transition to a new administration.
Kenyatta has not seen it fit to congratulate me, but I think that's fine. I mean, maybe he's a bit disillusioned, or maybe he's unhappy that I defeated his candidate.
He also pointed out that a colonial-era law criminalizes homosexuality in Kenya, which is punishable by up to 14 years in prison. It is not clear whether there have ever been any convictions for gay sex in Kenya.
We have Kenyan law, we have Kenyan constitution, we have our tradition, we have our customs. We will continue to respect other people's customs as they respect our customs and our tradition. I am very clear that we respect everybody and what they believe in, but we also have what we believe in, and we expect to be respected for what we believe.
Still within the confines of Kenya as a country, Kenyan ministry has cautioned newly elected governors against using public resources to pay for congratulatory messages and newspaper adverts. The Devolution Ministry said money for the expensive congratulatory messages to the president-elect and deputy president-elect could be used to provide essential services. The ministry cited public finance management regulations in the Kenyan law stipulating that public money shall be used in a prudent and responsible way. Public entities traditionally pay for space in the media to publish adverts congratulating newly elected leaders. Kenyatta voted in a general election on August 9, and President-elect William Ruto is due to be sworn into office next Tuesday. Bringing you more stories, and still with Kenya as well, Kenya's Directorate of Criminal Investigations has reported that 18 victims of human trafficking have been rescued en route to destinations in the Gulf nations where they were to be sold into slavery. The victims, all male Ethiopian nationals, were found in a house in Athi River on the outskirts of the capital, Nairobi, during a raid by detectives from the Transnational Organized Crimes Unit, that is the TOCU. Police said 3 other suspects, all Kenyan nationals, were detained. Also speaking, Kenya's Principal Secretary, Ministry of Foreign Affairs, Macharia Kamau, said that the challenge the country faced was the export of labor as house helps to Saudi Arabia. Coming right up next on Africa Today is business news. Stay with us. Business Desk. Talking business, despite the massive demand for Nigeria's goods globally, the country's cargo traffic remains low among the top African airports, ranking by freight traffic. Speaking at the ongoing Second Aviation and Cargo Conference 2022, Obinna Anyebu noted that it is very important for everyone in the industry to play their role, as they are not to play all roles. Nigeria has one of the most nutritious fruits in the world, but demand and supply are not meeting at the moment, with China, India and some Europe countries seeking these products. According to the Airports Council International, that is the ACI, Murtala Mohammed Airport too is ranked 5th in Africa, as it handled about only 204,649 tons of goods in 2021, as against Jomo Kenyatta International Airport, which tops the list with over 363,204 tons of cargo in the same year. A total of 2.15 million metric tons of cargo transited through African airports, representing around 1.7% of the global are being produced. The market and service providers capable of utilizing these opportunities. And now let's have you know that African ministers of finance, economy and the host country, Egypt, desire to take on a lead to help poorer countries curb their emission and strengthen their resilience will be a key flashpoint at the COP27, as a long-standing goal to spend 100 billion US. Week's forum in Egypt aims to leverage African leaders' voice to mobilize greater international support for a green and resilient recovery in Africa. Still to come on Africa Today is sports. Do stay with us.